Hey everybody, it's Dana Joy of Got Joy Creations back today to show you a quick card. As you all know, I've been taking some online classes and I'm really enjoying a lot of the techniques I'm learning, but I want to share something a little different with you today just to see, how you liked it. Okay, so I'm just going to use a piece of, this is like thin wafer board. It has a strong texture to it. I'm going to show you the packaging too. So this is by +9 wafer board, and it's kind of reminds me of like a really thin cardboard. So we're going to start with that piece of paper, and I'm going to use this great cover a card stamp, background stamp. I love this really bold image. I'm going to have the link to this in the bottom of the comment section, so you'll be able to pick one of these up for yourself as well. So with the stamp being so large, it makes a great background. So what we're going to do is grab the stamp and just lay it down, and we're going to apply some Versamark to it. Now what you want to do for this technique is make sure you get Versamark all over your background stamp. You don't want to have any empty areas. You want to make sure you have it totally covered. So when you go ahead and put your clear embossing powder on, you're not having any empty spaces or spots that you need to go back and try to line up correctly. So I'm going to use the darker side to this paper, or wafer board rather. And again, remember I told you before, when you're doing these background stamps, you really need to rub hard. You want to get a really good impression on the first time out. So I'm going to grab some regular copy paper and lay it on that top so I can actually rub all over the background stamp without getting the Versamark on my hands. I'm really loving these quick and easy cards with using background stamps. They come out so pretty. So look at that. Is that not gorgeous? And that would be great for a mail card. So like I said, I'm going to have some clear embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my container and go ahead and start scooping some of it on there. I really need to get a bigger spoon. And I think I say that every time I show you guys this embossing powder, and I never put a bigger spoon in there. Okay, anyway, back to what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to make sure I get the clear embossing powder all over the Versamark. Now you could do this if you wanted to put like dark brown embossing powder. That would look phenomenal. Or like white embossing powder. I think this design could be great for a mail card or even a wedding card. If you did like gray and white, maybe that'd be pretty. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my heat gun, and I'm going to go ahead and set this. It's going to take a while, so I'm going to kind of do the rest of this off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, and this is what it looks like. How cool is that? But we're going to bump this up a notch. I'm going to show you something else that you can do with this. I'm going to go ahead and grab my sponge applicator, and I keep the sponge tips in this little jar here so I can keep them all together. So I'm just going to grab one of those out. And I'm also going to grab a distress ink. Now when you put this distress ink on, watch what it does to the design. So I'm just going to swirl it around, and then when I start bringing it in, it really makes that embossing stand out. So just look at the difference as I swirl, the difference of the color. So it really gives it a more like depth or earthiness to the panel. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I get full coverage on this because I want a kind of uniform look across the card. But like I told you before, wouldn't this be great for a masculine card? And a lot of times I don't do a lot of masculine cards. So I can actually make a ton of these at one time and then just have to change out the sentiment or maybe some of the embellishments. I can add some twine to it or some buttons or actually like some really dark chocolate brads. That would be pretty. So I'm not done with this though. We're going to do something else to it. And I'm going to clean up my area. And I'm going to bring my panel back because I love the way this looks, but I want to die cut this as well. So first I want to show you the difference of how striking that panel is just on a white card. So look how pretty that looks. I'm going to go ahead and use a die cut and cut out the middle of that. So again, we can use, this as a solid piece, or we can use it to die cut. And since my die cut's really small, it's not going to really take too much out of this really pretty design. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of my washi tape to hold down my sentiment. First, I'm going to line it up to make sure it's straight before I put my washi tape on there. And then I know when I put it on a card, it should be straight. So I'm just going to eyeball it in the center there. I think that looks good. I'm going to press it down, and I'm just going to wrap my washi tape around the back of it. I'm going to run it through my cutter. I'll be right back. Okay, so now it's all cut out. And again, I didn't take too much out of the design. So like I told you, we're going to mount this on white. Look how pretty that looks. Oh, that looks so good. So first I'm going to add some Xyron adhesive, and I'm just going to put, it looks like a lot because I want to make sure that this kind of stays flat so I can get my pieces back in there correctly. But also because of the wafer board can buckle a little bit from the heat from embossing it. So I want to make sure it kind of stays flat. So I'm just going to bring back in my card base and gently line that down because this is going to be like a one-time shot deal here. I think that looks good. All right, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in some of those areas with my like little negative pieces. Do you know what I mean? Like the pieces that are left over. So like those little pieces right there. So how I'm going to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and use my glossy accent. You can use glue or some other like medium that you want, you know, to make sure it stays down. But I would suggest to use something that dries clear, obviously, because you don't want, you know, something that dries to a different color and you can actually see it against the background of that white. So I'm just going to go ahead and add just a tad bit on there. I really don't need much. I'm going to use my tweezers to go ahead and get this to lay down. So I'm just going to press that back into place. I'm going to use my tweezers to kind of line it up. And I'm going to go ahead and start putting on the other pieces. So as you can see, one stamp, embossing, well, Versamark, embossing powder, and a heat gun. And that's the kind of design you can get with your background stamps. So like I said, I can use this for feminine cards. I can use this for masculine cards. I mean, the possibilities are kind of endless with this one. So actually you could do it on, let's say, navy blue paper, or actually let's do the reverse, like a light blue paper with a dark blue embossing powder. That would be pretty cool. You can do it like in Valentine's Day colors. So don't forget, you know, you can really get a lot of cards out of your background stamps. Sorry about the background noise. My little Missy has decided to come hang out with me in the stamp room, so she's like shaking everywhere. So okay, so back to what I'm doing. I'm just going to go ahead and continuously put in the rest of those little negative pieces. But like I was saying, you can really do a lot with your background stamps. Remember that. I remember back in the day, they were really, really popular, and then they kind of like fell off, and now they've come back, and I wish I didn't get rid of some of my ones I had from like years ago because they really make such great cards. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean up a little bit of the glossy accents there. I squirted just a tad bit too much. Okay, everything's looking good. I'm going to adjust that one and clean up some of that area as well. All right, I have one more tiny little piece to add back to the card, but since it's so tiny, I'm just going to put a little bit of glossy accents directly down on my paper and then go ahead and put that tiny little piece back in. Okay, I'm just going to line that up, make sure I get it in the right spot. Just hold that down a little bit and clean some of that glossy accents up. All right, that is pretty much going to wrap up our card for today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Go be creative today. Do something that you didn't do yesterday. Have fun. It's only stamping. I have a new ending to my videos, so you can like and subscribe to all these places right here. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. To check out another video, all you have to do is click on the picture. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you soon.